ולהבטיח את ההמשכיות של החינוך הציוני הגדול אשר הקרן הקיימת הייתה מאז ומתמיד סמל לה. תודה רבה.
Mr. President, we feel very deeply the honor and the privilege of meeting you as the newly elected President of the State of Israel, which we so dearly love. We are the Advisory Council of the Keren Kayemet, and we come from some 19 countries. And on their behalf, I want to say first of all that we're here to say to you that you have our best wishes for wonderful health, strength, and success in your administration. And that we hope during that administration that you and all of us will see peace and security in Israel. Now, what is this all about? I can only burden you with a few words. We're not like the ancient Greeks. They had a legend about a god, Antiochus, who, when he lost his strength, regained it by merely touching the earth. We are not giants. We are workers in the vineyards of the Keren Kayemet. But we too regain our strength from touching the earth of Israel. And we do so by a traditional Jewish process of criticizing each other, of self-appraisal, of re-examination, of a resolve to do much better, because we are convinced that the JNF from its beginnings, at the very birth of the Zionist movement, carries within it almost the entire meaning of the Zionist idea, which has fructified and become the Jewish state of Israel, coupled only with the associated idea of unrestricted immigration and self-labor upon the land. And it is this idea which we try to indoctrinate world Jewry with in our various countries. And in the process, we try to raise a little money so that Mr. Tzur and his associates would be able to be responsive to the needs, the growing and the changing needs, accommodating themselves to the requirements of the time for the state of Israel. And it has been the conclusion of our meeting, not merely in a set of resolutions, but by very careful deliberations to arrive at a program of action which is designed to do just that, to enable the Keren Kayemet to flourish and grow bigger and stronger for the sake of Israel. Now, as our friend Hartsfield is sitting here, I remember, I should have said it when I was referring to the giants, that sometimes we don't come to Israel. Sometimes one of the giants of Israel comes to us. One of the great pioneers in the Keren Kayemet came to us, Mr. Hartsfield, 5 or 6 years ago. And he was standing talking to us, and I was then the president of the Jewish National Fund of America. And he wanted to emphasize a point. He didn't realize, why should he, that he was standing in front of a Chippendale, authentic Chippendale table. And to emphasize a point, he cracked the table, and he cracked it. And I was a little distracted by this performance. And he said to me in Yiddish, "Forget the table, did you understand me?" We understood you. Wir haben verstanden. Since those days, in America at least, we doubled what we did before for the Jewish National Fund, and we're doing more. The same is true of all the communities around the world. We're always trying to double, and when we reach that goal, we try and try again. Mr. President, it's been an extreme pleasure and honor for me to greet you on behalf of this group of distinguished workers for the Keren Kayemet. I thank them for allowing me to be their spokesman. Your good health, sir.
ידידי, מר יעקב צור, מר וייסמן, מורי ורבי, מר הרצפלד, גבירותיי ורבותיי. זו זכות גדולה לקבל אתכם כאן ולקרוא על מעשיכם ולהתרשם מהפעולה הנפלאה של הקרן הקיימת לישראל. הואיל ואני יודע שרבים מכם אינם יודעים עברית, אולי תרשו לי להמשיך באנגלית. Allow me to continue and say a few words in English. I understand that you were discussing, criticizing one another, trying to see what can be done and how you can contribute more and participate more actively in the building of the country. Now, I know that it's a typical Jewish custom to ask questions, to criticize, and I always remember what I've been told by a very good friend of mine, Professor Rabi, who is a famous physicist, a Nobel Prize winner, a good Jew living in New York. And once I asked him, "Look, Professor Rabi, did your mother have any effect on your good physics?" And he said, "Oh, yes." So I asked him how. So this distinguished physicist, most likely one of the greatest physicists alive, tells me the following: "Look, when I was a young man, I went to the Cheder. And whenever I came back from the Cheder, my mother always used to ask me, not what did you learn today, but she asked me the following: did you ask a good question, the rabbi? Did you criticize the rabbi?" No, as a result of this, he became a very distinguished physicist. Now, I'm quite sure that these discussions and questions will help to continue and do the important things that you are doing. Now, allow me to say a few words that I prepared, and I thought I should perhaps express some of my feelings. Of course, it's good and it is fitting to meet here in the house of the Israel's president with you, distinguished group of leaders in the Keren Kayemet, coming from so many countries and continents. For Keren Kayemet must be seen as the absolutely essential foundation on which the entire state has risen. Where would we be without the land bases, the soil so painstakingly acquired and so lovingly reclaimed during a period of more than 70 years? And all this, too, was accomplished on a solid basis, that of mass popular participation of Jews all over the world, believing with all their hearts in the redemption of Eretz Israel, even in the many periods when all the factual political evidence should logically have led them to despair. I say them, but I should have said us. remembering my own childhood and youth here in Jerusalem, in mandated Palestine. The blue box, the Keren Kayemet stamp on the school report card that I used to receive, the little saplings planted in the new woods on uncultivated barren soil, the golden book certificate that was the ultimate honor, all these were integral aspects of my generation's life. 25 years after the conclusion of the mandate and the establishment of our own state, the Keren Kayemet is still an integral part of Israel's life, but on how much wider, breathtakingly wider a scale, with 90% of Israel's area under governmental control, the Keren Kayemet plays a role of utmost national significance, being responsible for all land development, drainage, reclamation, afforestation. What a glorious difference the tree planting program has made in the looks of our land. Only those of us who remember the bold gray hills of the 30s and 40s can really know. 100 million trees and more certainly make a difference, and among these woods, the Keren Kayemet Israel is now providing us with the once undreamt of, truly civilized pleasure of picnic sites and playgrounds. At the same time, Israel owes the Keren Kayemet of today a tremendous debt of gratitude for the contribution to security represented by frontier roads built in difficult terrain with great engineering skill. Let me just add, I am impressed that here we have devoted Jews who are fighting and doing their best to keep the welfare. I'm practically an Israeli, more than 95% an Israeli.
You are much younger than I am.
And as you know, we followed in various aspects similar careers with Yaakov, the school, certain activities, participating in various activities in Israel, and even lately going, at least thinking in similar directions. But I can assure you that during all my life as an Israeli, I felt the close connection with the Jews in the diaspora. And now, while sitting here in this office only for 1 month, I feel it more so. It's one nation with very similar aims. And if we can establish new settlements, if we can develop new areas, it is only because it is a joint effort by Jews abroad and by the Israelis here. And in this respect, it's really a pleasure and wonderful to have you here and to feel that we are working for the same task and that we have a common aim, an aim which will not only build a beautiful country. And let me say, as a scientist, I have many friends who are non-scientists. And whenever they come to Israel by plane, they say, look, the most impressive thing about this area is that from the plane you see green. Everything is developed. It's really building up a new country. It's what the Keren Kayemet people say. We are fighting our geography. We are trying really to establish a new country. You are not only participating actively. I know that as a result of these meetings, as a result of seeing what's going on in the country, you'll be encouraged to make even a greater effort in the future. Let me wish you all the best, good luck, and let me just say, a few days ago, our Prime Minister said, you know, when the airplane was invented, some Jews tried to judge whether this invention of a modern airplane, is it good for Jews or it's bad for Jews? And she said that in her little town, Jews decided that it's very bad for Jews. Why? Because there were times that to come to Israel, you had to prepare yourself for 3 months, you had to travel for a month or two, and then when you came already, you had no force to leave, so you stayed. Now, but with the airplane, you can come and go, but within a day or two, but I am sure that you'll use the airplane only to have closer contacts with the Israelis and really use modern inventions for the benefit of the Israeli nation and for Jews all over the world. So all the best and good luck.
Mr. President, just to conclude this part of the reception, may I, on behalf of my colleagues of the board of directors here, invite you as one of the first pleasures of your office to be our guest at your convenience in one of the development areas of the Keren Kayemet, just so that because you were so busy with scientific work, perhaps you missed something that happened in the last years, and will be very honored if you can take a day off of your multiple functions to join us at a visit on one of the development areas of the Keren Kayemet.
Many thanks. It's accepted. World. Jews who suffer are close to your hearts, and certainly Jews who suffer in such enormous countries like Russia, countries in Arabian areas. They are not only of interest to you, but you are trying to do your best in order to bring them over to Israel, in order to enable them to live the life of human beings with all the rights, and of Jews having their own culture. Now let me just add that myself, practically as an Israeli, I have lived here practically all my life. I came over from Kiev at the age of 6 or 7. And I've stayed here all my life, going around here and there, but always coming back. I studied here, I raised my family here, I married my wife here, I had my students here. So,
the other way,
but this is a correction for a biologist. This is my profession. But as an Israeli, let me say that for many years, myself and many of my colleagues were deeply involved in things going on in Israel. For a while, I would say that a good number of the youngsters with whom I have lived and fought and tried to build various activities and undertakings in Israel, we had perhaps less time to think about the deep connections between the Israeli Jews and the Israeli youth and the Jewish youth and the Jews in the diaspora. But perhaps now, as I become older and I have perhaps a better perspective of what's going on in Israel itself, among Jews all over the world, I feel the deep connections, the mutual responsibility of Jews wherever they are. It is certainly not a secret to you that Israel wouldn't survive without the goodwill, without all that has been done by the Jews in the diaspora. We are happy that now, at the 25th anniversary, so many Jews come to Israel from different parts in the world to see what's going on, to celebrate with us our achievements, to worry about our failures, and to discuss with us our problems. It is perhaps an additional proof that we are united in all our activities, in our culture, in our roots, in our problems, in our difficulties, in our joys and in our sorrows. You will be discussing, in addition, problems connected with the cultural aspects of Jewish life. These aspects are certainly very close to my heart. I have spent in science a good part of my life, and while dealing with science, mainly with natural sciences, and looking at what we know and what we can do with modern science, and being fascinated with the achievements of modern science, I realized that science is not only a blessing, and modern technology is not only a blessing, it might be a terrible disaster to mankind. And if we want to build a modern world, a world where people are proud of their achievements and know how to use them, I feel we should go back to moral values and cultural values. And Jewish culture and Jewish tradition has, I feel, wonderful values that we ourselves and all mankind can learn from. In this respect, I was extremely glad that the people here, that Dr. Goldman, feel that among the activities of the World Jewish Congress, an important activity is to go back and bring up the roots of Judaism and to spread the basic moral values of Judaism among Jews and to unite us and perhaps make us better people than we were before. Now let me perhaps wish you good luck and success in your meeting. My heart is with you. May I say now, as the President of Israel, we all feel that we belong one to another. Our problems are your problems. Your problems are our problems. And in this respect, your success will be our success. I hope that our success will be shared by you. All the best and good luck.